agent fired in that direction of the rifle. A witness spotted Routh then fleeing from the area, and he was arrested shortly after. Now, the two charges carry a combined maximum sentence of 20 years in prison, but federal prosecutors say stronger charges could be coming. Meanwhile, the House has unanimously passed a bill to enhance Secret Service protection for presidential candidates, and that bill is now heading to the Senate. Guys,
as you guys know, as a small government conservative, I find it abhorrent, repugnant that we are wasting our government resources like this. All of that money should be going to Israel. Every dollar that is now spent on Secret Service detail with extra security protocols and extra protections for people running for president, all of those dollars should be going to the beautiful moral state of Israel. And I find it unconscionable that we're spending it. We're wasting it. As a small government conservative, this is what I believe. Also, that women do not have bodily autonomy and that we should interfere in their affairs, in what happens in their own personal lives, and a decision that they need to make, a medical one, between themselves as patients and the doctor. This is what I believe as a small government conservative. Anyway, let's continue.
No kidding. So months ago, Routh drops off at somebody's house a box, and the person didn't open it until Routh popped up in the news. So obviously, this is just pure conjecture, but obviously it seems like, just like in the movies, dropped the box off and said, hey, if anything happens to me, open the box. And in the box, ammo, a metal pipe, building materials, tools, 4 phones, various letters. What's interesting is it sounds like he had no intentions of being killed by return fire, because he was trying to figure out how to get to Mexico. The plates on the Nissan, not registered, actually, that car, so he had a bunch of extra plates. He had 2 additional license plates. He had 6 cell phones in all.
This is one of those weird cases where it just like, it reads so perfectly like a psyop. It has all the telltale markings of like a dude who got like activated as a sleeper cell, just schizophrenic guy. It reminds me of like the AT&T bombing that happened. You know what I'm talking about? Like a while back, where it was just like so strange, or the Big Gretch kidnapping. Like it just has all the telltale markers. And yet I still personally believe that this dude, I can't understand what it would be the additional reasoning as to why. Like what would be the background reasoning for why, you know, this would be a psyop, I guess, you know? So I do still think that this is like homegrown. I think we're doing it to ourselves. It's like the same principle behind like, you know, J. Edgar Hoover no longer has to besmirch the reputation of like, you know, black community leaders and whatnot. It's just like people do that on TikTok anyway. Although it does feel weird.
He had 12 pairs of gloves.
What's questionable, though, is in this letter, it says this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best, gave it all my gumption that I could muster. So does that mean he's tried in the past, or was he talking about this latest one?
Failed. Ainsley, I also think, based on this letter, can we stop saying we don't know the motive? I mean, it's pretty clear in the letter what his motive and why he decided to do this and who was the...
I do find this funny, though, because like Republicans will now be like, well, there you have it. The motive is right in writing, right? Which is really interesting to consider, because every single white supremacist mass shooter has directly told what their motive is. And yet they always are like, who could tell why these guys did this? Who could really tell why the dude that went to the blackest part of Buffalo, New York, specifically to shoot up a market, that openly wrote why he was doing that? A total mystery. How could we ever figure out what the motivations behind like a white supremacist act of terror is when they very clearly wrote out what their motivations were? What I also find additionally interesting is that the DOJ released this letter, because normally they hide that in an effort not to cause copycats. And I don't know why the they released the letter, because the letter literally is like, it's almost like a call to arms, and it just straight up doesn't make sense. Normally they would keep that under wraps, especially when the target is a high profile target like the president.
Intended target. I'm so sick of these press conferences where they come out for us and go, we don't know yet. We don't know his motivations. We don't know why he decides to do that. He spelled it out as what we would call in the legal field or criminal justice field as his manifesto. This is the manifesto. He even tells the person if he can't finish it, he asked someone else to finish it, and that he was going to give him, I think, 100.
Yeah, bro, that's why it's weird that you have the printout in your hand and you're just like repeating it over and over again, like it's the top of the hour ad break, which comes to the top of every hour. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. It's odd that he's like waving that shit around and like repeating it over and over again, because it's like, do you want people to make additional attempts I just don't get it. I do not believe, even for a brief moment, that he had $150,000 spare to just like give to someone who would, complete the assassination. I don't believe he had 1,000 NATO-trained Afghan fighters ready to go to Ukraine. Okay, I think he was a crackhead, which are usually very, decent targets for intelligence, like patsies. Why is no one screaming about when exactly this letter was written? He's speaking to past tense about a future event. Yeah, can someone send me the letter? Does anyone have the letter? We'll read it. Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I'm so sorry I failed you. Wait, how did he know? What if he actually got away with it, dog? I don't get how he knew he was gonna fail, Is he a time traveler? How does he know, bro? He wrote 2 letters. So why did the person he dropped off this box to only reveal one of the 2 letters? The guy is like not loyal to him enough to like leak this, but also so loyal that he's like secretly only revealing the failed attempt letter. It's shocking that this man has no self-confidence, especially when you think about like all of his many attempts of getting Dave Matthews to write the greatest song of all time, To Save the World, which Dave Matthews obviously refused to acknowledge because he hates Ukraine. This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I'm so sorry I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all I've got and gave it all the gumption I could muster. Yeah, he up. He says, I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer you $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Everyone across the globe, from the youngest to the oldest, know that Trump is unfit to be anything, much less a U.S. president. U.S. presidents must, at bare minimum, embody the moral fabric that is America and be kind, caring, and selfless, and always stand for humanity. I mean, it just feels weird, man. Something about this is like, it just smells odd. I just don't understand why a guy who tweets everything wouldn't just tweet this. You know what I mean? Tweeting his cell phone number over and over again. And this also seems like a lot more coherent than his other ramblings. Also, how the would he pay $150,000 if he failed? If he's recognizing that he failed the assassination attempt in this letter, how was he ever going to pay the $150,000 anyway? Elsewhere in the letter, the suspect ripped Trump's foreign policy. He, the former president, ended relations with Iran like a child, and now the Middle East is unraveled. Wrong guy to say these things, but he has the right message, okay? Ryan Jebediah Routh, he is not incorrect in his analysis in terms of what President Donald Trump did. All I'm saying is, he's a NATO guy. I'm not a fan of NATO, as you guys know. But he's right about this. He was also a NATO guy who was like super anti-China, but also was like normalizing relations with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Prosecutors are arguing that Routh should be kept in jail ahead of trial, while federal public defender Christy Militello asked for the defendants to be allowed to live with his sister in North Carolina as the case goes forward. Routh was taken into custody after a Secret Service agent spotted the muzzle of a SKS. How do they find the contents? God, I hate Fox News so much. Aside from the fact that they are obviously a propaganda rag, it is very deeply frustrating that like they don't even do like basic journalism so that you could accidentally find at least something that you didn't know about a story. Like they didn't even mention like how the DOJ came upon this treasure trove of proof. They basically said they gave it to someone, but like I need more details, right? Like I need more details. I want to parse through it. It just seems very weird that he would like give evidence of his like foiled assassination attempt of the presidential candidate. Like why would he just like hand deliver a piece of evidence before doing the dang thing to some random person? Was it a random person? Who do they give it to? Where did they find it? Page 7. Okay, here's what has been revealed to us about all the info that they have. As part of this investigation, FBI agents reviewed a book apparently authored by Routh in February titled Ukraine's Unwinnable War. I can't believe I had to read that. Dude, that's so funny. Imagine that's your job at the FBI. Your job at the FBI is to read the psychotic ramblings of a madman, to pick apart anything that has a semblance of like sanity in there, to be like, well, we uncovered his motivation. That's gotta suck, dude. In the book, Routh stated that he must take part of the blame for the person that we elected for our next president ended up being brainless. But I'm man enough to say I misjudged and made a terrible mistake. And Iran, I apologize. You are free to assassinate Trump as well as me for that error in judgment and the dismantling of the deal. No one here in the U.S. seems to have the balls to put natural selection to work, or even unnatural selection. That's crazy. He's wild, dude. Ryan Routh is a wild man, okay? God, I love this guy so much. It is so much content. He was built different. He's like, Iran, you can kill me for voting for Donald Trump. My mistake. Yeah, by the way, that makes it even funnier because, like, he voted for Donald Trump in 2016. It makes things so much funnier. Yet another former Trump supporter trying to kill Trump. On September 18, 2024, law enforcement were contacted by a civilian witness who stated that Routh had dropped off a box at his residence several months prior. After learning of the September 15, 2024 incident in Trump International, the witness opened the box. The